Good afternoon, everyone. I would like to welcome you to the launch of Ireland's 5th Government Road Safety Strategy, which covers the period from 2021 to 2030 and is titled Our Journey Towards Vision Zero. My name is Sam Wade and I'm the Chief Executive Officer of the Road Safety Authority, and I'll be guiding us through today's launch, and in that capacity it gives me great pleasure to call upon Minister of State at the Department of Transport, Hildegarde Naughton TD, to address us here today. Thank you, Minister.
Thank you, Sam. I'm very pleased to be here today to launch the government's road safety strategy. The foundation of this strategy was laid in the 2020 programme for government, where Ireland committed to achieving Vision Zero, that is zero deaths and zero serious injuries on our roads by the year 2050. This is an enormous challenge, but we're building on sustained progress made since the first road safety strategy was introduced in 1998. And it's worth noting that in 1998, 458 people were killed on Irish roads that year. And while one death is one death too many, so far this year, 126 people have died on our roads. That represents real progress, and I wish to thank all road users, the Road Safety Authority, Garda Síochána, local authorities and all other agencies and government departments involved for their work in making our roads safer. Meeting our Vision Zero target will be achieved by building on the progress already made and lessons we've already learned. This new strategy is designed to achieve a 50% reduction in road deaths and serious injuries by the year 2030, in line with EU and other international road safety targets. It will work in 3 phases over the next decade. Phase 1 will run from 2021 to 2024, Phase 2 will run from 2025 to 2027, and Phase 3 will run from 2028 to 2030. In the last 6 months of each phase, an action plan and further interim targets for the following phase will be developed. And this approach will allow for progress to be evaluated and emerging trends to be assessed to ensure that our actions incorporate the latest road safety developments. This strategy will be backed by some €3.8 billion in investment, and I'm very pleased to say that 90% has already been committed by government. Perhaps one of the most visible changes people will see as a result of this investment programme is the rollout of new walking and cycling infrastructure in our cities, towns and villages in rural areas. The programme for government commits to spend €1.8 billion on active travel, and this money will fund programmes such as the Safe Routes to School programme, which will provide purpose-built walking and cycling facilities, and in some cases involve a complete reworking of a school's entrance. This investment is key to helping combat the narrative among some people that it is too dangerous to walk or cycle. In general terms, I do not believe that this is the case, but I do think that how we understand and think about road safety needs to change. We need to adjust our attitudes and behaviours to take account of the fact that no one form of transport takes primacy over another. Each and every road user is entitled to use our roads and not have their safety or life put at risk due to other people's dangerous behaviours. Turning to protecting vulnerable road users, it's important to highlight that safe speeds are a central element of the safe system approach. Speed reductions will have significant safety benefits for all road users, particularly cyclists and pedestrians. In line with the approach of other European Union members, one of the critical actions to be implemented is a review of the framework for the setting of speed limits, including consideration of the introduction of a 30 km/h default speed limit in urban areas to help protect the most vulnerable road users. At the 3rd Ministerial Conference on Road Safety in Stockholm in February 2020, Ireland became a signatory of the Stockholm Declaration, the sole focus under speed management was to call for the universal adoption of 30 km/h limits in urban areas where roads were shared between vehicles and vulnerable road users. Since then, there have been major steps made to it becoming global practice. This year, Spain has set a national 30 km/h limit for all urban roads with a single carriageway in each direction. Paris has a 30 km speed limit for most roads, with other French cities following suit, and Wales is looking to implement a national 20 mph default limit for urban roads by 2023. Scandinavian countries already have a de facto 30 km/h limit for most urban roads, with Oslo and Helsinki recording 0 pedestrian deaths last year, with the lower speed limit cited as a key reason. Ireland needs to catch up. The list of benefits for local communities extend beyond the obvious road safety ones. They also include environmental benefits, health benefits, and economic benefits linked to the tourism potential of low speed limits. In the UK, they sell the fact that their major tourist attractions are in 20 mph zones to encourage visitors. But among the hardest challenges will be changing driver behaviour. Dangerous behaviours remain a significant concern, and the stark fact is that far too many people die needlessly because of drink and drug driving, driving at excessive or inappropriate speeds, driving while tired or while distracted due to mobile phone use. Failing to give consideration to vulnerable road users and travelling in a vehicle without wearing a seatbelt have left far too many families without a loved one. The Safe System approach highlights the fundamental importance of all partners within the traffic system working together with a shared responsibility for improving road safety. All road users, particularly drivers, must not pose a danger to themselves or others. We will also need to review the penalties that are in place for these offences to ensure that there is sufficient deterrent to prevent dangerous behaviours. We also need to make sure that those who have forfeited the right to drive for breaking road safety laws are detected if they try to drive while disqualified. There is much work to do, particularly as we see an increase in the numbers of people walking, cycling, scooting and e-scooting to work, for education and for leisure, and in some cases utilising a mode of transport not seen on our roads a very few short years ago. This strategy will deliver change over the next decade and provide us with a springboard to achieve our 2030 and our 2050 objectives. And I am confident that we will achieve those ambitious targets together. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Minister Naughton. And now I would like to call upon the chairperson of the Road Safety Authority, Liz O'Donnell, to say a few words on the new road safety strategy. Thank you, Liz.
Thanks very much, Sam, Minister, Commissioner, invited guests, ladies and gentlemen, and I'm sure there are people watching us, watching this event, particularly members of the Oireachtas. Can I begin by thanking you, Minister Naughton, for your personal support and indeed your department's support for what is for the development of this strategy we are launching today. I want to applaud and note your courage in backing such an ambitious plan. It is very ambitious, but I know it's based on a steely determination by this government to reduce and ultimately end the horrific tragedies that happen every day on the roads in our country. Every action in this strategy, and there are many, has one thing in common. It will contribute to a life saved or a serious injury prevented. We know from our research the cost of collisions on our roads. We know where the collisions happen, we know when they happen, and we can even say why in many cases, what causes crashes. But there's something that most of us don't know. We don't know what it feels like to be told out of the blue that a loved one will not be coming home. We don't know what it feels like to have to suddenly arrange a funeral of a loved one who was alive 24 hours earlier, who was healthy and in the prime of life, We don't know what it's like to have to redesign a family home when a loved one has suffered a permanent life-changing injury. We don't know how, and we know this from talking to the victims of road trauma, we don't know how hard it is to keep a family intact after a loved one is killed in a road crash or seriously injured, because everybody grieves differently. And they're wondering why this has happened to them at this time. This is called road trauma, and many of us haven't experienced it, but an awful lot of people have. And it's the sudden, violent death of a loved one in a road crash. Over the last 18 months, we in the Road Safety Authority have been working in close cooperation with our colleagues across government and agencies, and we've listened extensively. We've listened to those who use our roads and who police them. And I'm glad the Commissioner is here today to endorse our efforts. We've listened to families who've been impacted by road fatalities and serious injuries, and we've listened to those in other countries who have done well in reducing road fatalities, as we have. All of these voices that we have consulted with can be seen today in what I would like to describe this strategy as a public strategy. It is ambitious, and some will say too ambitious. Some would say it can't be done to reduce road fatalities and serious injuries by 50% in 10 years. My response to this is that I believe we have to be clear about this. If we're not ambitious, we've already failed. I remember similar voices of over-ambition were voiced in 1998 when Ireland launched the first ever road safety strategy. Since 1998, as the Minister has said, road deaths have declined by almost 70%, while the number of licensed drivers have increased by over 1 million, and the number of registered vehicles has increased by over 1.3 million. So reducing road deaths and serious injuries by 50% over the next decade is, I believe, achievable. Vision Zero by 2050 is also achievable. We can do it. Given our road safety strategy and journey to date, no target should be too ambitious for us. Every day, every weekend, every week without a road death or serious injury in your community is Vision Zero in action. The starting point, I think, is recognising that road deaths or serious injuries should not be the price we pay for our mobility. We should never normalise such large fatalities on the road. We owe it to those who use our roads and who will use our roads in the future, our children, to be as ambitious as the authors of the first strategy were 23 years ago. And we have made significant impact on this terrible social problem of road fatalities. The lifetime of the previous 2013-2020 strategy has seen many advances. New road safety legislation has been a positive impact on the public's behaviour. For example, safe overtaking of cyclists, screening for drug driving, the increase of penalty points for certain offences, and tougher penalties for unaccompanied learner drivers. The introduction of the Garda Mobility Enforcement app was a significant milestone. It took a while to get there, but it has been rightly described by the Gardaí themselves as a game changer for road traffic enforcement. We also saw the introduction of the novice plate for newly qualified drivers and a lower penalty points threshold for both novice and learner drivers was introduced. Investment in road infrastructure and improvements in vehicle design standards and roadworthiness testing have also played key roles. We have safer vehicles and therefore safer roads. The RSA high-profile evidence-based public campaigns have been prominent in changing public attitudes and behaviour, and I would refer to, in particular, to our series of advertisements and a campaign called Crashed Lives, which was very impactful. I mean, I think the testimonies of people who are at the coalface of this road trauma is really impactful and changes people's behaviour. And I'd like to thank Gillian Tracy, who allowed her family to tell their story and really changed people's attitude to drink driving. And also the media, I have to say, they have been extremely supportive of our efforts over the years in highlighting the social issue and the health issue, which is road safety. All of these people have contributed over the years to the reduction in road deaths. I want to acknowledge in particular, I think it's fair because people have changed their minds and changed their attitudes significantly. And they've changed their behaviour and they practice safer road safety habits. It's been instrumental in reducing the level of fatalities and crashes. So I want to thank every member of the public who is behind us and who will support us in this ambitious programme to reduce road deaths by 50% in the next decade. As the Minister said, the core of the strategy is a shared responsibility between those who design, build, manage and police and use the roads and vehicles to prevent or reduce the impact of collisions. We also rely on those working in post-crash response to improve outcomes for those casualties and their families who have lost loved ones. By working together, I do believe we can realise the vision of zero deaths and serious injuries on Irish roads. So with this strategy, with Vision Zero at its core, is the most ambitious road safety strategy we've launched to date. I think it's important that we have done some serious sort of preparation for this because it is so ambitious. It's supported by a robust governance structure and a collaborative approach to implementation. I'm convinced this strategy has the potential to deliver transformational and lasting change. And I think the public should hold us to account on that. You know, we'll have 10 years to achieve these targets, and I think the public will have an interest in seeing that we do achieve them. Just as we can look back on the progress made in previous decades, which are significant, I hope that come 2030, if we're all here, we will look back on 2021 and wonder how we ever tolerated such high levels of fatalities and serious injuries as we do now. If we can do this, and I believe we can, then we will ensure that hundreds of families won't know what it feels like to be told out of the blue that a loved one will not be coming home or faces a lifetime of challenges because of a serious injury. And that's the essence of Vision Zero, and I would ask the Irish public to support us and all of the stakeholders who have contributed to this particular strategy document. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for those words, Liz. And may I also echo your comments and express my gratitude to Minister Naughton and your department team on the achievement of the launch of this, what is the 5th Government Road Safety Strategy. I'm delighted to say that Commissioner Drew Harris is with us today for our launch. And Garda Síochána is a vital stakeholder in the delivery of many of the actions in the new strategy. So may I ask Commissioner Harris to say a few words. Thank you, Commissioner.
Thank you very much, Sam. Thank you. Minister, Chairperson, ladies and gentlemen, invited guests, good afternoon to you all. And it's my great pleasure and thank you very much for the opportunity to speak here today at the launch of the Government's Road Safety Strategy, our journey towards Vision Zero. Each and every day, I can say that members of Garda Síochána and our roads policing units nationwide work to improve road safety and to reduce the incidence of both fatal and serious injury collisions on Ireland's roads. There are over 750 specialist Gardaí assigned to roads policing units across the country, and it's their responsibility to rigorously target what we call the lifesaver offences, and they are offences of excess speed, not wearing a seatbelt, mobile phone use while driving, and driving under the influence of either drink or drugs or a combination thereof. And this is because when drivers ignore these factors, and these factors are well known, but ignore the factors such as speed or driving under the influence of alcohol or drugs or the other offences that I've mentioned, then they find themselves, very regrettably, in very dangerous scenarios. And these are scenarios that are potentially life-threatening to them, but also to other road users. Regrettably, this year they've been dark months in terms of incidents and fatal incidents on our roads. The weeks of August were especially shocking when we saw 18 fatal crashes which led to 24 people losing their lives. And we, together with our partners in the Road Safety Agency, responded and mounted an operation to try and prevent this from escalating. And we've seen some success in the overall total of those killed on our roads this year. We've also just launched our annual Christmas and New Year road safety campaign, and I have to say that our additional focus on road safety over Christmas has already shown a 40% in the incident of drink driving detections this year as compared to the same stage of last year's campaign. Christmas week is just now a little under 2 weeks out, and so I'm urging all road users to act responsibly. Do not drink and drive. Do not drive under the influence of drugs. Do not speed. Wear your seatbelt. Don't be distracted by your mobile phone. These are simple acts, well known to everyone, but if you breach these, the consequences are far too great, and it is simply not worth taking the risk. And to echo a point that Liz, our chairperson, made, there's no more bleak duty for a member of Untitled Chapter than to go to a family home and break the news of a road fatality. And this is a duty which is very difficult, but far more difficult is the news that we have to deliver. Please, let's cut this down to an absolute minimum. And so we in Untitled Chapter are completely committed to fulfilling the support and high impact actions outlined in today's plan. These include the expansion of speed management measures on our national, regional and local roads, using periodic speed limits at schools, for example, and also average speed cameras at especially high-risk locations. And through this, we are focused on reducing the number of deaths and serious injuries on Irish roads by 50% over the next 10 years. We do believe this is ambitious, but we do believe it is also achievable. Recently, as we've seen people return to Ireland's roads following periods of lockdown because of COVID, Untitled Chapter has prioritised road safety and policing enforcement. More and more people are returning to our roads, and according to the Transport Infrastructure Ireland, the volume of traffic on our motorways and national primary routes has steadily returned to pre-COVID levels. So it is therefore hugely important that we do not allow any of the dangerous habits, such as excess speed on quieter roads or driving under the influence, to go undetected. And to that end, I look forward to continuing our multi-agency collaboration to ensure Ireland achieves the first step in its journey towards realising Vision Zero, no deaths or serious injuries on our road by 2050. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Commissioner Harris. I've had the privilege of being the Chief Executive of the Road Safety Authority for over a year now. And during this period, in addition to delivering our services, a key focus with RSA and our delivery partners has been coordinating and developing this strategy that we present today. As has been stated already, at the heart of this strategy is delivering Vision Zero by 2050, where no one will be killed or seriously injured on Ireland's roads. This strategy, the first step of Vision Zero journey, is to the decade to 2030. And that's where we will reduce fatalities and serious injuries on the roads by 50%. What that means is each year from 144 fatalities to 72 or lower. And it also means serious injuries, reducing the serious injuries from 1,260 to 630 or lower. Our societal outcome is saving thousands of people from being killed, seriously injured, or experiencing the trauma of a death of a loved one or an injury. Some of those people who have experienced the loss of a loved one, they're with us, some today, courageously, and also I know that people are watching also affected by road safety and collisions and that trauma on our live broadcasts. The first phase of this strategy covers the period from 2021 to 2024. It includes 50 high-impact actions and 136 support actions. There is an urgency around the implementation of these actions, and I can assure you that we haven't been waiting to launch this strategy to actually progress. Work has commenced. It's already underway. I also want to be clear on one point. This strategy, it's much more than just a set of actions. It represents a collective commitment across government to effectively address the inherent risks and the factors which make our journeys more dangerous than what they should be. I'm extremely grateful to the Minister for Transport, Eamon Ryan, and to Minister of State at the Department of Transport, Hildegarde Naughton, to my RSA board, and especially our RSA chairperson, Liz O'Donnell, for their guidance and support to bring this road safety strategy, Vision Zero, to life. The public interest and the commitment to road safety is clear in Ireland. Over 2,000 submissions whilst developing our strategy were received. We combined this with an assessment of international best practice, an extensive examination of data, and frequent in-depth stakeholder consultations to produce what we have here today under the 7 safe system areas. So let me outline, what does that mean? So the first one, safe roads and roadsides. That's to improve the protective quality of our roads and infrastructure and enabling information. Number 2, safe speeds. To reduce speeds to safe, appropriate levels for the roads being used and for the people using those roads. Safe vehicles. Number 3, to enhance the safety features, technology, and roadworthiness of the vehicles on our roads. Number 4, safe road use. To improve road user standards and behaviours in line with traffic legislation supported by enforcement. Number 5, post-crash response. To improve the treatment and rehabilitation of collision casualties. Number 6, safe and healthy modes of travel. To promote the road users that are engaging in public or active travel and transport. And finally, number 7, safe work-related road use. To improve the safety management of work-related journeys. I firmly believe that embedding a safe system approach across the broad spectrum of safety with delivery partners across Ireland will result in a sustainable reduction in road deaths and serious injuries. An example of this is end-to-end intelligence-led enforcement, enabled by innovative technology, all of which will play a key role for road safety. Embedding the safe system approach has been shared clearly to us by Matthew Baldwin, the European Commission's coordinator for road safety, and also from Professor Barry Watson in the Centre of Accident Research and Road Safety in Queensland, Australia. I'm extremely grateful to both Matthew and Barry for their assistance. Matthew Baldwin has sent us a message from the EU Commission, which I would like to share with you all now by video. Thank you.
Hello everyone, this is Matthew Baldwin from the European Commission, the EU's Road Safety Coordinator, and it's a great honour and pleasure for me to be with you, if only virtually, I'm afraid, and by this terrible recorded message, for the launch of the new road safety strategy for Ireland. And I really want to congratulate you on this fantastic piece of work. Ireland, you are serving as a role model for so many of us in the European Union with what you've done on road safety. I note that in 2019 you arrived at the second lowest rate of deaths in the EU, just 28 per million. But what I find fantastic is that you're not accepting this, you want to do more. I note that your report says that you didn't meet the target you set of having just 124 deaths per year. And against that backdrop, it's fantastic that you're adopting this 50% target for the next decade, which is in line with what we're proposing in the European Union, what we're pushing for at the global level, and it's exactly what we're asking you to do. You're adopting the Vision Zero, you're adopting the safe system, and pulling together the best practices from across Europe, from across the world. It's really wonderful to see the work that you're doing. If I may, on one point of more detail, I particularly welcome the focus you're putting on more sustainable modes of travel. We need to protect the vulnerable road users, the walkers, the cyclists. Where necessary, we need to develop ways of segregating these road users from motorised traffic. We need to create a safe environment for all of our road users, whoever they are, wherever they are. My impression is that you're on track to transform road safety in Ireland. It's a pleasure and an honour for us in the European Commission to work with you in the next steps in realising our ambitious but joint, achievable targets to make Europe a better place. I wish you every success on the next phase of our journey towards Vision Zero. Thank you.
Thank you, Matthew. I'm also very grateful to many stakeholders, government agencies, non-government bodies and private sector partners involved in road safety. I thank them for their engagement in the development of this strategy, and particularly leaders here today for their ongoing commitment to deliver. I look forward to partnering and implementing the actions in this strategy which will transform road safety in Ireland. Lastly, I want to thank the staff in the RSA for their work in helping to develop the strategy with stakeholders in this room, but also in those organisations involved. I do not underestimate the scale of the challenge we face in achieving Vision Zero. In partnership, we need to all step up. Communities, politicians, employers, industry, government bodies, road users, and the public. And we look forward to working together. We will meet this challenge. And I will commit the energy, expertise, and the passion of Road Safety Authority, RSA, to make it a reality. And I thank the commitment from my chairperson, the RSA board, and most importantly, the two government ministers who have given us this mandate. All of us have a duty to ensure that the 2030 milestone of a 50% reduction in road deaths and serious injuries is achieved, and the ultimate goal of Vision Zero becomes a reality in Ireland. Thank you for today, and let's proceed on our journey to Vision Zero. Thank you.